Hello everyone and welcome back to A Bit Tactical, where today I'm going to be going over the Battle Clade and Ravener's rules that have sort of semi-been released. We have got a little bit of snippet of them, but really it's just about talking the future of the channel. We are going to talk about the rules a little bit because they're a little crazy. However, I do also want to talk about what my plan is for this box, which I will be getting, and the team that I will be covering within. Once again, I do have timestamps, so if you only care about certain parts of this video, then go ahead and go to those parts. But for now, let's get right into the rules that have been released. All right, let's move on to the stat line. 3 APL, 7-inch move, 5 up save, 20 wounds, does have 5 models only. They do have 20 wounds, so this is a 100 wound team. And I know that seems crazy, but I mean, it's not too crazy, right? No, it's a little bit crazy, actually. You know, even with Horde teams, they usually have 7 or 8 health, so it doesn't really go out too much. At most, they have 80 health, maybe 81 because of the leader. So, yeah, 20 wounds more than teams that are double their size, even with elite teams. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. I think this is probably the highest. There's probably some team that maybe altogether has more wounds, but these guys, big threat. They do have that 5 up save, but as you're going to see later, that doesn't really feel like a lot when they retain 2 saves automatically. But again, we'll get to that later. Let's get on to their weapons. He has 3 shooting options. All of them have 4 attacks. All of them hit on 3s. The first one is 3-4 damage, range 3, so that's interesting, and silent, so that kind of makes more sense. The Venom Bolt, the Blast version, which is, again, interesting. 3-5 damage, range 8, blast 2, and poison, which is super good. So good that I'm looking at my hotshot volley wondering why he isn't him. Then the Venom Bolt focused is 4 attacks, hitting on 3s, 4-5, range 8, piercing 1, and again, poison. Poison, for those of you who don't know, if you inflict any damage with a critical success, the operative this weapon is being used against gains 1 of the poison tokens. Whenever that operative activates, inflict a D3 damage on it. So if you're ever down to 1 or 2 health, you're basically dead. Then, of course, his melee is 5 attacks, hitting on 3s, 4-5 damage. He's a Phobos Strike Team Reaver. That's basically what he is. In terms of that, definitely not with the wounds. And he has 1 special ability. Until this operative has shot with its Venom Bolt or until it performs the Burrow action, whichever comes first, all profiles of its Venom Bolt have the lethal 5+ weapon rule, have 1 added to their attack stat, and the range 8 weapon rule is removed. So this is interesting because what it does is that it gives you a reason to not burrow them and give that big advantage and to keep them on the board. Now, because these models do seem to be bigger and they have 20 wounds, and this is a little bit of speculation, I wonder how they're going to work around light cover and heavy cover, right? This might be a case where, you know, the only other models that we have like this that are kind of this big with this many wounds are models that either move really slowly, which these guys don't, or they have to take cover in heavy. They can't take cover in light cover. They have to be behind heavy. Now on a board like Vocus, that might not matter, but on other boards, that might matter a lot. So that's speculation. Nothing in the article says anything about that, but that's something to consider. But also, what a ridiculous set of rules. Holy crap. I would 100% keep this guy up if it felt safe. I don't know, even if you had to take damage, I feel like I would just take that. Because no one's killing you. There's not a single model on any fucking anything that's killing you. They're not. Nobody is killing you with 1 shot. Even a Melta, they're not killing you. So anyone who does take a shot at you, you're immediately going to be able to take a shot back at them and kill them. So yeah, not burying this guy seems like the right way to go. Then, of course, you have their tunnel ability, their faction ability, which in my mind, the way I read it, this works a little bit like the drop markers for the Tempestus Aquilon. I'm assuming it starts at the deployment zone, moves up 5 inches in a straight line. Instead of 2, I think you only have 1. And then, you go from there. It does come at the expense, if you use the Burrow action on this, it does come at the expense of 2 inches of movement and 1 of your APL. But even as the article states, with 3 APL and 7-inch movement, it kind of doesn't matter. Okay, if you have somebody burrowed and you move up the marker 5 inches and then you come out and you can still move 5 inches, you have a 10-inch movement range. You have bigger movement range than anybody else on the game. Stay underground, nice and safe, and pop up anywhere you want. And apparently the marker keeps moving up 5 inches every single turning point. They did no mention on restrictions on turning point after turning point 2, just that you keep doing this, okay? Which again is a choice that they made. So either keep your operatives safe, or they come up operatives that are just as good as any other operatives. I mean, they're not obscured, so I guess it evens out a little bit. Let's move on to some of the abilities that they did show. Writhe out of sight. Select one friendly Ravener operative. That friendly operative can immediately perform a free burrow action. If it's within 2 inches of your tunnel, it can immediately perform a free fallback or reposition action before it does so. So you have a Ravener stuck in combat, right? Maybe your exaction squad, you have them exactly where you want them to be. But now you don't. You can just perform that free action. I mean, I know Nemesis Claw can stop you from getting out of combat. I don't know if Exaction Squad ever could, but I think Nemesis Claw, it's just dice rolls, so they could stop you from doing the fallback action. I'm assuming that supersedes this. It has to. But for anybody else that doesn't have any way to stop them, instead of the person being trapped down, now they can just go away. Now, not only can they perform the reposition action or a fallback action to move to the tunnel, apparently, they can then just burrow. I mean, I don't know. I just don't know how to feel about that. I'd have to see it in the game. Again, in the game, reading stuff is different from seeing it in the game. In the game, it might work completely different. It might be an ability that sucks. But so far, it doesn't sound like it sucks. So, I don't know. To their abilities, there's also this. So, Tunnel Lurkers is a strategy ploy that pairs extremely well with the Chromata Spear camouflage equipment. So, all of a sudden, 5+ saves aren't so bad when you're retaining 2 before rolling any dice. This combo does assume that the operative is standing on their tunnel, but most of the team's utility requires that anyway. So, not only do they, have 20 wounds, they also auto-retain 2 saves, and you control where the marker goes, right? Their tunnel marker, it's not like it's a random thing where it's like you roll a d6 and go in any direction or whatever. I don't know, something to make it randomized. You choose where the marker goes. So if you're playing objectives or if you're playing kills, like, I don't know, this again, I feel like you did kind of even out with a 5+ save, but then you have this where you just auto retain 2 crits or auto retain 2 saves, making it so that half the damage that is ever going to be possibly given towards you is gone. Right? And that's even if you get 4 hits, which isn't going to happen with every team. So yeah, I mean, the Raveners overall, I'm telling you right now, it looks like they're going to be a little bit broken. I understand why, kind of. They're Tyranids. This is the first Tyranid kill team. I'm sure that they probably went overboard with it a little bit because of that. But just so you guys know, I'm probably not covering this team. I don't really like teams that have things that seem overwhelming to the person you're playing against. Personally, I don't like that. I don't like when it feels like a lot of got-yous, like, hey, I just trapped you in combat. Actually, no, I'm gone. Hey, I just finally got to shoot you because you're exposed. And actually, no, I have 2 saves that I automatically retain because I'm on my tunnel. And my tunnel is right on top of the objective marker. Now, I could be wrong. It could be that once we get the actual rules for how to set up the markers, we're going to find out that you can't set it up anywhere near objectives. It has to be like far enough away so that you have to move to the objective to be on top of it. Maybe that's the case. And if that is the case, then the team is a little bit less broken than I thought. But we'll see when that comes up. For now, don't want to go too much into speculation and hating before the actual rules come out. Let's go on to the Battle Clade. Okay, so they didn't actually show a picture of what the actual rules for this are. Just an explanation of what it is, which I really don't like. But let's go with it. Maybe, I think the reason is because of this last sentence here. So although there is only one faction rule, the Battleclade's Neospheric network is more than enough to give this team a tactical edge and totally unique identity. The 8 servitors can each spend 1 AP to allow a fellow servitor to network counteract, performing a 1 AP action for free with some restrictions. I don't like that last sentence there. With some restrictions. I just covered a team that seemed to have no restrictions on almost anything. And the restrictions they did have weren't really restrictions, especially because of just how good their base stat lines are. They weren't restrictions at all. So I already don't like that these guys have restrictions on something that seems to be their main thing, which is to have an extra action with the rest of their team with one of their teammates. However, my brain automatically explodes with a bunch of ideas of how this could be really cool. Again, depending on the restrictions. I'm assuming you're going to be able to do mission actions. I'm assuming you might be able to do movements, things like that to help with a lot of things. Of course, you only have the 5-inch movement. I'm hoping it's not just you can only dash, but it's still a reposition action. I hope it's the whole reposition action. And I do wonder if you're able to do it more than once, right? If one model has, 2 APL, could you then go, hey, boom, 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 these 2 models are now going to move in a way that's more advantageous to me. Maybe that's why they have the restriction on it, if they make it that powerful. If they don't make it that powerful and they still have the restrictions, though, I'm probably going to be upset. Onto one of the operatives. We didn't get an actual thing for the actual servitors, which, are attached to the faction ability, right? Because these guys aren't mentioned at all, and it seems to be only affecting the servitors. So I don't know why they didn't put a servitor here, but we do have the Underseer, which I'm assuming is the leader because he has 9 health. I'm assuming he's going to be a 4 or an 8 health team with a 3-up save, which is interesting. Maybe, right? This is the leader, so it could be that he is the only one with the 3-up save and everybody else is a 4-up save. I'm hoping that's not the case, especially since they're going up against a beefier team. So hopefully there is something there that's countering the 20 wounds and the 2 auto-retain saves. He does have 2 weapon options only, 1 shooting, 1 combat. The mastercrafted radium pistol, 4 attacks, hitting on 3s, 2/4 damage, range 8, balanced and rending. So if this team has any severe ploys, that's a really deadly combo, like super deadly combo actually, considering that you're always going to be getting 2 crits as long as you get 2 hits, and he's hitting on 3, so it's pretty good. And then his data spikes, which is 3 attacks, hitting on 5s, 2/3 damage. So this guy's should never be in combat. However, he does have and it has a keyword support here, which is interesting. Select one friendly Battleclade servitor operative within 6 inches of either this operative or a friendly Battleclade auto proxy operative to immediately perform a free dash action. You cannot select each friendly servitor operative for this rule more than once per turning point. So essentially you can do this throughout the battle, get a free dash. I don't think you can do it more than once on people or on your team. I think you can only do it once, but you do have the other one, the network override. And these are both 1 AP, right? And again, the support keyword, select one friendly Battleclade servitor operative within 6 inches of either this or a proxy to immediately network counteract. You don't have to transfer power to do so. We don't necessarily know exactly what that means, what transfer power means. Continue this operative's activation after doing so. So during this activation, you can basically do the faction rule just with this guy. So that's interesting. I'm assuming that the auto proxy is the other Underseer or other admit guy with the robe. That's what I'm assuming he is. And if that's true, then I could see this being interesting. Not only that, again, the support keyword, right? So with the support keyword, that means you can, I'm not going to say it's one of the few, but of the teams I've covered, it is one of the few that can use the equipment. I think it's the comms device that extends this range from 6 inches to 9 inches. So if you do bring that and you have your auto proxy on like either side of the board, you could feasibly cover like 90% of the board so that you have access to everybody on your team, which is really nice. Moving on to one of the strategy ploys, there's a few interesting things here. So number one, the Nospheric Possession allows you to have accurate 1 so long as you're within 6 inches of an Underseer or a proxy, right? So that's cool, but again, with the support keyword, in order for you to get the bonus of that support keyword, the 3 inches, your auto proxy or the servitor Underseer has to be controlling that piece of equipment. Okay, interesting. So within 9 inches, you basically have accurate 1, which if you look at the bottom text here, is apparently very good because these people hit on 4s. Now that is a little bit unfortunate, considering they have a 5-inch move, and I'm assuming 8 wounds. If they have that 3-up save, then not so bad. Really, the problem is I'm just comparing this to the Raveners, and I'm like, okay, this team could be cool by itself, but it seems like the other team is just built to totally mess them up. Maybe I'm wrong, right? The full rules come out and it's totally the opposite, or it's totally even. I don't know. But it is seeming like one team is just clearly better than the other right now. Again, we should wait for the rules. That's just how it's feeling right now. Let's move on to another strategy ploy and an equipment, or a piece of equipment. So for the strategy ploy, Duty of Reclamation once per action, you can use the command reroll Firefight ploy for 0 CP if the attack dice or defense dice was rolled for a friendly Battle Clade operative that contests an objective marker or one of your mission markers. So this is kind of good, but also kind of not, because it's only if you're contesting, right? If it was if you were either contesting or controlling the marker, or within like a few inches, then this would be really good. But since it's contesting, to me, this feels like you're potentially spending 1 CP to get 0 CP on a command reroll that may not do much. It's not necessarily that the ploy is bad, it's just that its use cases in one scenario, which you're contesting. And don't get me wrong, there's been matches where I've contested an objective marker a lot. But there's also been matches, in fact, more matches than not, where contesting really wasn't a thing. It was more like I control it, and then I die, and then my opponent dies, and then I control it again, or vice versa. So I'm not sure, especially if the team isn't really survivable, right, to contest it. Again, against a Horde team, yes, I could see this being pretty good. If you keep your servitor on there, he's in cover, maybe you have a smoke grenade you throw on top of him, now he's obscured and in cover, now they have to come in, maybe they can't really come in and do much, and you could survive a shot or two, especially with this command reroll, right, if you're contesting. But if you're not, then, and they're just shooting you, then again, I don't know. Here's what I'm imagining. I use this strategy ploy, and then I have to use the command reroll, but since it's not in that specific situation, I'm not getting it for free, so I feel like, and then I don't actually use it throughout that match, and now I feel like I just wasted an extra CP to get potentially 0 CP on other command rerolls that I never got. That's my immediate thought. But again, in the actual game, might be different. But we also have Neurocyclic reserve cycles, or reserve cells. After revealing the equipment option, roll 1d3 a number of times during the battle equal to the result. Whenever you transfer power, you can use this rule. If you do, don't subtract 1 from the operative's APL stat, but it cannot perform a fight or shoot action during that activation. This takes precedence over the normal Nospheric network rules. Now, this is the kind of stuff that I'm talking about. It's like the Ratling's equipment piece that I think it's like every turning point, you roll a d6 on, or you roll a d3, right? And on a 5 or 6, I think you gain a CP. On a 1 or 2, you lose a CP. On a 3 or 4, your opponent loses a CP. This is the kind of stuff that I like. Okay, yes. And it's not even like this is a negative, right, at all. You could just only get 1 use out of it, or you could potentially get 3 uses out of it. But it just means that you don't subtract APL from your team. Now, I'm assuming that this is going to be a 2 APL team, except for the server or the Underseer. So this could actually be really useful. Especially, again, there's a lot of strategic components to this. This is the type of ploys or equipment pieces that I like. The ones that offer flexibility. It gives you an option, and that does give you restriction, but that restriction allows you to explore different options, right? Instead of just flat out, no, you can't do this because of this. Instead, it's like, okay, I have an operative. All I want him to do is to, capture a point or move into a position. But now what I can do, because of this piece of equipment, I can use transfer power, give it to somebody else, then he can maybe shoot and do something else while I go capture the point or move into a better position. This is the kind of ploys that I like with a team, where it really feels like they actually thought out of how to make things a little bit better while still giving you some restrictions. So I really like this ploy. A piece of equipment, guy, that's what I meant. Anyways, that's the teams. That's my thoughts on the teams. Raveners seem to be maybe a little broken right now. But again, we have to wait until the full rules. Battle Clade seem to be interesting. Seem to be a team right up my alley. If you haven't noticed, I do like teams that aren't particularly performing well. I don't know. There's something about them that attracts me to them. So right now, as it stands, I am going to get this box anyway, and I'm going to use the Battle Clade. I'm going to split it with my friend. He's going to take the Raveners. However, when the box comes out and I get it, I will be doing a review of the box and all the contents within. And then from there, once my admech are painted and I have had games with them, I will, of course, be doing a guide for them. If I like the team, right? If I don't really like the team, I probably won't do it. But if I do end up liking the team, I will absolutely do it. So that's kind of the plans that I have going forward with this team, with this box. And, just kind of slowly but surely building up my kill team, everything, as I start to take this channel a little bit more seriously and actually, not concerned, I would say, but like actually wanting to apply more effort to this thing than I was before. So, if you have been here supporting me since when my audio was way worse than it is now, it's still bad, but I'll figure it out. Thanks. And yeah, I think that's it for this video.